to note my notes quickly.
Mr. Rupert, how are you?
Joanna, great to see you again. Let me congratulate you on your promotion. I think it's results of your great work. So also looking forward to our cooperation down the line.
Thanks very much. It's yeah, indeed. It's a success of our team. The last project, everyone contributed pretty well, and I think the collaborative environment that led to success of the project, that was very crucial. But okay, so let me define the agenda of the meeting. I would really like to, as you know, we are considering deploying the new this project in Indonesia. I would really like to take your input on what strategy we should go about. I'm actually meeting our CEO tomorrow, and of course, as everyone knows, and our CEO as well, he knows that your opinion in this matter is very valuable. Your experience in Indonesia and your local knowledge. Really value that. So that is one thing I would really like to start with, and then yeah, we see how it goes.
Okay. So that I can contribute well, can you sort of debrief me quickly? What is the direction you are thinking, so that I can maybe give an opinion about the direction and contribute to the specific elements of your ideas?
So so far, what we are thinking is, in order to go ahead in Indonesia, my own hunch is that we should go for an acquisition-based approach, and that's because of a few different reasons. The first is it'll eliminate some of the complication. It'll quickly build. We'll be able to quickly build the supply chain and distribution channels, leverage our existing business networks, and specialize in human and intellectual capital. The second reason is doing so could cut the operational cost significantly and help us to achieve the results faster. Both of these are, CEO's clearly stated objectives. The other thing we're thinking is the Indonesian market asset. The companies are grossly undervalued. And that gives us a great opportunity to go ahead and acquire one of these firms. And the prices are, as per our prediction or the analyst reports, the prices will go up in next couple of years. So it seems like acquisition-based strategy is making more sense. But again, I have limited knowledge about the market, and I'm really open to listen what you have to say.
As I've outlined, thank you for sort of outlining what the direction of your thinking. As I outlined in my email very briefly, that I personally believe the sort of organic growth approach would be a better suited strategy for our company than the acquisition-based. And there are following reasons for that. The first one, I believe, going through M&A in the Indonesian context, having seen the failures of the past acquisitions in the market, is simply too risky for us.
Okay.
It is too risky because it's really difficult to integrate culturally local companies, because we are talking about not actually acquiring international players divesting from the operations, but really Indonesian companies with different ethics working, different culture working, and different maybe even values proposition.
Okay.
So seeing what has happened over the last couple of years with M&A by international players in Indonesia, I've seen mostly only failures rather than successes.
Are they still operating in the similar domain that we are operating, or
yes,
okay,
indeed. So there is this issue that I believe we should definitely consider. I like your point about undervaluation and the sort of the good timing of for acquisitions and potentially actually monetizing on the increase in value of the companies. But if we go through organic approach by building up our operations, I believe we can actually, possibly not as fast as through the M&A, but also grow very quickly, given the market in Indonesia is growing really fast.
Okay.
And by doing so, we can more control the quality of our services and products.
Yeah.
We can more control the financing of the operation, so having more control in the financial risk.
Right.
And we can also more control how ourselves, we internally manage the growth, because potentially we are not ready to skyrocket in Indonesia simply because organizationally, I believe we are not ready.
That's, I think they're good points that you're bringing up. But again, I would like to touch upon that the CEO has explicitly demanded that we need to reduce the operational cost or be very tight on that front and then achieve the results faster. So do you think growing organically could lead us to achieve the results faster?
Certainly it will take longer. But if you adjust it risk-wise, it will take longer to achieve our goals, but with higher probability of achieving them at all, rather than growing through M&A or with expected shorter time to achieve the goals, but the risk of not getting there at all, simply because we could face bankruptcies and substantial risks on the way is substantially higher.
That's a valid point, actually. So I understand where you're coming from.
Let me understand why the speed, the timing, the time frame you've outlined that the CEO is actually expecting is so critical to us in Indonesia. Do you maybe have some info on that?
Well, all I know is first of all the analyst report just saying the market is currently hugely undervalued. So and the prices are to go up in 2 years. So we have the time frame of I'm understanding these 2 years, and if we can really establish our footprints well into that market, then that would be the time when we will see favorable returns. So that's one of my understanding. The second understanding is purely coming from the CEO's perspective that it's an important market for us. It's a huge geography, 250 million people, and we think we can have a good business gig there, and that's why the CEO insists on proceeding pace with the pace. But I totally accept your point of the risk factor that is there, and I would like to closely, one of the main concerns I have is currently in the organization we do not have many people with a deeper understanding of Indonesian market. So if we are to go there and grow our business organically, we would have to hire a lot of local talent, acquire local talent, and then leave on basically build from scratch. And do you have any sort of plan for that? Do you think how we can go about it?
Well, actually, I'm very close ties to Indonesia, as you know. My wife and my children are actually living in Jakarta. And so I'm also sort of in the mindset of potentially moving to Jakarta at some point. So this is also one of the options. I will be happy to contribute to the success of the company in the local market. Maybe a topic we can also discuss later on. And through my networks, I'm definitely willing and open to helping to hire the local talent through the networks I've already established, simply because I spend almost every weekend in Jakarta and build a very good framework, I believe, within Indonesian context.
Okay. That's good, but since
maybe thinking about, because we have to a large extent diametrally different vision of how to tackle the market. What if we combine both options? Simply because Indonesia is a really diverse market with geographic splits. I mean, it's more than 17,000 islands, different cultures. What if we go, for instance, for both approaches? In each of the, we can say, in certain regions, we go for M&A, because personally I doubt we will find anyway M&A targets that will be operating across the entire country. And in other regions, we can maybe try the organic growth and maybe compare, say, after half a year, how we are doing. And then we can maybe decide by simply testing those both options in the real life, which direction we go. I presume this is potentially a bit costlier option than going either way. But at the same time, risk-wise, it could maybe tell us which option is actually better and which delivers better results given the time frame we're provided.
So I believe what you are suggesting here is to basically run a pilot for each of the two projects and then see which one performs better, which one makes more sense. And then I think I really like the idea, because rather than just looking at the analyst reports or just speaking about the things, we would have some real life experience on how things work out in Indonesian market. But again, you touch upon that. It could be a rather expensive option, because if we are to go ahead with acquiring a company, it's not an easy process. You have to do the due diligence and pay these IBANKs FD fee, and then
But this would have to do anyway. I believe that most of the companies will be broken down regionally anyway. So we would have to go and purchasing multiple companies anyway.
Right.
So say we wouldn't acquire 10 companies somehow spread over the country, but rather we would do 1 to 2 at the beginning, because anyways the fee would be per acquisition.
Yeah.
So potentially the only thing I see is that you need to keep management for the organic growth, as well as a management for the M&A growth. So this is sort of the increase in cost that I see, but in the transactions funds per se, through external advisors, I don't think it's going to be such a big difference.
I guess my only concern, two concerns here. First is, if we are to make a decision now and run a pilot on a particular, model, that would make sense. But if we are to go with both the models, and first, of course, it's going to be expensive. It will be time consuming as well, because we are spreading our efforts. And the second is that gives us, kind of an impression that we do not really have a growth strategy. Maybe we want to just try out a few different things and then.
But it's a fair assumption, right? Many companies actually apply such a strategy in other markets simply because they don't know which actual way would be more successful. So if you take different automotive companies in India, for instance, or motorbike companies, they typically both cooperate with local players or acquire local players, as well as establish their own separate operations and see which one is successful later.
Okay.
It's definitely an option to be considered. It doesn't mean we are indecisive. It only means that we want to choose the best option.
Right.
Doing it from the spreadsheets and table, it's often difficult to.
Right.
I see the merits of your proposal with the time frame, but I am, to be honest, a bit risk-averse person, and also knowing the context of Indonesia, I'm simply afraid the risk of losing out completely are simply too high.
Okay, that's understood. So, considering these options and also considering your personal preference, I'm thinking more on an implementation. Let's say we are to agree with this idea, then you mentioned that you would be willing to move to Jakarta.
Yeah, that's definitely an option I would be happy to consider with you, because I understand you would prefer to stay in Singapore,
right?
From personal reasons.
Yeah.
To a large extent, I would be willing to consider moving to Jakarta and support the local operations of the company. Of course, as you're my boss, assuming I would have also your consent on such a move.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, we can definitely think about, your potential move to Jakarta, and I think it will happen because considering, our high focus on Indonesia and you being, knowledgeable, only thing I'm thinking about is if you move to Jakarta, would you be kind of able to, monitor the two projects, or would you rather prefer, the organic growth strategy on one over another?
I would be willing to take responsibility for both projects. I would be more, I believe, positioned to manage it in terms of project management and tactical decisions. Of course, strategic decisions I would discuss with you, potentially with the CEO too.
Okay.
But in order to do that, I would actually like to suggest that I would get also financial compensation, because it will be a new challenge for me, to be honest. I will be willing to take up the challenge,
right?
But I will have to compromise also my family life, and there will be also a lot of traveling and stress involved. So I would like to also discuss with you a potential actually to increasing just modestly myself.
Sure. Well, I mean, actually, as per my understanding, you moving to Jakarta would actually help your personal life. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand your family is in Jakarta, your wife and your kids, right? So if you're moving there, then you would definitely be potentially, seeing them more often. That's one. And second, I understand you mentioned that you're traveling every weekend to see them. So
they're traveling actually mostly to see me.
Okay,
also,
but it's a cost. It's a cost on your pocket, right?
Indeed.
So if you are to move there and whatever traveling then you are doing, maybe to Singapore or maybe to other provinces of Indonesia, the cost would be on company. It will be business travel. So you are definitely better off that way.
I fully agree that my cost of living will be lower, but my responsibility will be substantially higher.
We totally accept that, and we actually have an internal review about your current situation as well, and we definitely think with someone with your skill set is due for a promotion. And not only just pay raise, also promotion. And I guess the plan that I would suggest is in line with what you suggested. So we proceed with these two pilots, and let's say we try it for a period of time, 6 months, and once we start seeing, the substantial results, and if we are in a position of making a decision that, which one to cut down and which one to move forward with, at that point, we will make a, change in structure, and we can potentially, depending on how things are, promote you, give you the financial benefits that have come with the promotion, and give you a higher responsibility to actually go ahead and implement that project. Of course, it will be based on KPIs, and
what type of KPIs?
So simply, again, when we are talking about implementing this project, there would be some milestones that we have to achieve. The pace of the project is one of the concerns, so it has to be, done in a very professional way, in a very certain manner. So in terms of hiring people, setting up offices, talking to our distributors, the customers. So there would be some KPIs in all the dimensions.
But what you are saying is that there would not be any KPIs for the upcoming, say, half a year, and those KPIs only apply with the promotion and only after half a year, right? That's what you are suggesting.
Yeah, so I'm suggesting for this 6 month, we will have certain milestones, which we'll see, and we'll see where we are after 6 months. And at that point, we promote you. And of course, once we promote you to the next level, then there would be these KPIs, which will,
But what promotion are you talking about? Because I'm directly actually with your team and under your position. So what promotion options actually I face? Because my biggest concern is, in fact, that's why I'm asking the raise, because currently I'm facing a concrete ceiling, simply because you've been promoted to role. And I don't see any progress in terms of career. That's why I'm also asking for the raise.
Okay.
Because I believe critical for the success of our company in Indonesia is the first half year.
Right.
I'm willing to take in your name and on behalf of the company the responsibility for the project and make it success, which means I'm bearing a lot at stake. And I will also have to pour a lot of energy and effort into the project to make it happen, which means I will have to really compromise on my free time and my family.
Right.
That's why I also believe, simply because I don't see any prospect of promotion, that there is no way other than a direct salary raise to sort of satisfy also my needs, and also sort of reward me for the willingness to support you on site.
Sure. Okay. Well, I mean, I accept your point, and I know, but the thing is, if you are to, live in Indonesia, if you are to, shift on local payroll, the Indonesian payroll of our company, then the cost, you'll be paying half as much. You'll be getting half as much what you're getting now, simply because of the cost of living. So what I can do is I can come up with such arrangement that you are still on Singaporean payroll and working in Indonesia, because it's a personal ambition. Also, I see it's in line with company policy, and if we are to move you to Jakarta on a permanent basis, we have to switch your payroll as well, and that will have its effect on
I have to say this is not much acceptable to me.
Of course, I totally accept that.
So should I take on the role of manager on site? A salary increase vis-a-vis the one I currently have in Singapore is critical. I believe that you can actually rely on my expertise and knowledge in the market. You can also rely on my loyalty. I've been loyal to the company for many years.
Well, that's true.
And I've led many successful projects.
Well, actually, that's not what we have seen in the past. So I see you have led a few different projects with your previous boss, and the results have not been very encouraging or very helpful to the company. But that never, I'm not undermining your own effort. It could be, the loss in strategic direction, or, so your expertise, we still value it a lot. All I'm saying is I would be willing to reconsider the proposition of, giving you a significant pay raise once we start seeing the results. And at this point, I would really like you to commit to the company operations, take up a lead in the, Jakarta operations, which is also in line with your personal ambition. Produce some results. 6 months is not a huge time. And once we see, concrete results, at that point, we would definitely consider, raising a salary and, basically moving forward with that.
But then, what motivation do I actually have to go to Indonesia?
Well, I mean, you already mentioned your personal motivation moving to Jakarta for your family.
But no, excluding my family reasons, what motivation do I have coming from the project company? Our company is running in Indonesia. What are then my benefits?
Well, your benefit is if you professionally, if you kind of prove yourself, or if you can produce the results that we are expecting. Our company can actually grow in Indonesia. You could take a more visible position and a significant salary raise as well.
But I cannot be promoted.
Well, I mean, that's just, I believe that's just your assumption that you cannot be promoted. As you know, I have been appointed what was my position? The head of corporations operation. I'm the head of operations of Indonesia, and it's in my domain how I really control the organization there. So if I am to build our operations in the country, we would be hiring a lot of people, and there would be a whole lot new structure being built, and I can promise you that we will make sure to have your position which is above than your current pay level, and that way it will be actually easier for me to explain your pay raise as well. Because currently, as I'm mentioning, if I have to move you to Indonesia, then you will be switched to a local payroll, which I believe won't work out in your best favor. So just these three incentives there for you, and again, as I'm saying, we value a lot your professional expertise and experience in the local Indonesian market, and we rely on your expertise to grow the company's operation in that market.
Concerning look, John, I understand that you are facing pressure on the cost concerning salaries and cost of operations in Indonesia. But you want me to run two projects in parallel. By me taking on the job, you are saving cost. Simply because you don't need two project managers, because these are completely two different approaches. One of them is actually your suggestion, of which I'm personally not convinced, but I'm willing to take on the challenge and support you on site.
Right.
I'm willing to take on both of the projects. If something goes wrong, whatever, I am facing challenges down the line, you're facing challenges down the line, but I believe my capabilities are simply, given our current situation, the best fit. And in order for me to consider the role at all, I simply need to at least get some pay rise. If we cannot agree on any pay rise, actually I have to regret to tell you that I wouldn't consider moving to Jakarta within the company.
Okay. Well, is there a number that you have in your mind?
I was more thinking in terms of 30-40%, but going towards 20-25% would be a fair deal for me.
Well,
and in order to make even more compromise to you, I'm willing to go only for 10% fixed and say 10 to 15% as a success fee after 6 months, which will be surely based on your assessment of my performance.
Okay, well, which is fundamentally what I've been trying to propose. That and I have actually a much bigger figure in my mind down the line, but I guess right now I'm not in the position to make this offer, but or make this decision. But I can definitely propose this to our CEO, and if we are to get the approval of this pilot, the two pilots that we are running, and you are to move the in Indonesia, then I will definitely consider this. That's that's point considered. So. Definitely, some kind of incentive structure the project, the progress-based incentive
But
structure.
you've mentioned that's only to be considered after half a year. And for me, it's important that it's to be kicked in once I take over the project on day one.
Sure. Okay.
So if you would consider this option, for instance, as your sort of reward, initial reward for me taking on the challenge and representing you and the whole company on site,
Right.
and taking on actually 2 projects in parallel that are very challenging, getting a certain fixed increase,
Right.
and on top discuss a certain KPI framework,
Right.
variable component in my remuneration. I think I would be more than happy to reach a deal with you and support you locally.
Okay, that makes sense. So how about I propose 5% increase in base salary the day you take over the project, and a very healthy KPI structure in place, incentive structure in place, which is tied in with the progress of the project.
As I said, my idea was rather 30 for 40%. I've made already a really big compromise on my expectations. And by suggesting you 10% fix, and by suggesting you at least for the initial half year 10 to 15% variable component, is already a really generous offer from my side, I believe. Simply because my expectation was already far away.
Well, I understand your expectation, and someone as loyal as yourself, working with the company for 15 years, I assume that you'd understand how these things work. So I have a certain budget, and I really have to be very careful how I spend the resources, and that's why I personally believe that on my position I cannot really justify giving you any raise for that matter, and that's because we know that if you move to Indonesia, you are to be moved on a local payroll, which would actually
then to be honest, I don't have to move to Indonesia.
Exactly. So I'm just trying to work in both our favors, or think about both our incentives here, interests here, and that's why I'm proposing a 5% raise in the base salary for now, and also working out a incentive based pay structure with you.
For me, I would still insist on the 10%, which is my minimum as a fixed one, and then the variable component. As I mentioned, my expectation was way above the one you've mentioned, and I've already made a big compromise on that expectation. So actually, I understand your current pressure on the cost base, so that's why I've suggested the compromise I've suggested. So if you consider the scheme I suggest for the first half a year, 10% increase and 10 to 15% of variable component, no KPIs, your decision. You say, Rupert, you've done a great job half a year, I reward you with 10-15% of additional income. Or Rupert, sorry, you disappointed me, and 0, this will be your sole decision. I won't challenge you on the decision. But I at least want to see a 10% fixed component that I'm taking on the challenge of actually representing the company locally. We agree on the 10 plus percent plus on top the 10 to 15% of variable component for the half year, and let's see what can happen after the sort of pilot period. I think we have a deal.
Well, okay, I can consider agreeing to your number as long as you commit on a few things. So first of all, we need to clarify that you being based in Indonesia, it will be a command and control structure.
Command and control?
And that would simply mean that the company would decide the strategic direction, how we want to move, and you will be in charge of the execution. And
but that's not necessarily what we discussed a while ago. You said that I would be representing the company locally and making also tactical decisions.
Well, tactical decision, not the strategic decision. So if our company, let's say, decides to take a step back on a certain project, it could be, the other project that you are mentioning, or going organic. If it's not making sense for the company, we might have to pull the plug. And,
that's clear. Strategic decisions, I agree that I would be happy if I were involved at least in the discussion,
right.
But I agree that the CEO in cooperation with you would make the final call.
Sure.
For this, I fully agree.
Okay. And the second is it's very important to have a trust-based relationship for us, because I know in the past, things have been said, and the way things have worked out, I would really like to put it all behind and then start on a trust-based relationship. This is a very important strategic project, not only for our company but personally as for yourself as well. Someone coming from that country and having a chance to lead that project in company, it's very crucial. So the only way we can move forward is through a trust-based relationship.
Indeed, I fully agree with this one.
yeah, I would definitely demand your full trust and cooperation in that.
We are on the same boat in this
Okay.
respect.
Sure. So let's agree on that. Then 10% increase in base salary and 10% incentive structure
Based solely on your discretion.
on we can definitely lay down the structure on base of tied to the progress of the project. So on project progress, and this is to be reconsidered in a period of 6 months once we are strategically in a better position to decide which project to go
Indeed.
forward.
And in terms of setup of the project, we've agreed on running it to pilots, and let's say in a half year's time, we'll decide which way to proceed with.
Yeah.
Of course, everything I guess is subject to the CEO's approval.
Sure.
Should you need any support with the discussion in the discussion with CEO or additional input, please let me know.
Well, I believe I have everything that I need at the moment for tomorrow's meeting. But definitely after the meeting, depending on how the discussion goes, I would definitely need we have to set up a meeting and then lay out how we really want to move forward with this plan, and some of the expertise that you have would really like to have the input, and then live the path forward. Okay, this project.
Great, John. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks very much for the report. It was great.
Good luck with the negotiation with the CEO.
You too. All right.
Cool.